So the next part of the journey is the wonderful weight gain. So again, we identified you had some lows and things weren't quite right, and then we were going to use supplements. You were doing really, really good with your food. But what we said is during menopause, how are you functioning? Because a lot of women lose function over the years and they don't realize that it's an accumulation. So we did some pH testing,
We did.
what have you, and it was quite surprising that you weren't what we thought you would be.
Exactly. It was
Okay.
a surprise.
So we got some things in place, and this is interesting, and a lot of women don't know that if their body has stopped functioning in normal things, then you cannot fat release, meaning you cannot lose weight. So you said you were the cardio queen.
Oh, absolutely. 20s and 30s, I would cardio away and keep the same weight for a very long time. Happy, be good during the week, have a few wines on the weekend. Didn't really bother me, but I started to see as I progressed through that perimenopausal period of time and then into menopause, that started to not work.
So you're doing the same,
Doing the same.
eating the same.
Absolutely, and I gained,
Okay, so
fortunately.
I guess what we find there, and you identified it yourself, is that cardio that was your best friend earlier is now triggering the stress response, which is
Absolutely.
happening with all of those other things as well.
Yep, it was stressing my body out to put it through so much cardio. I had to switch it up.
And you were exhausted as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So it wasn't practical
Forcing
anymore.
myself to do it.
So what did you change? What did you find was working for you or works for you now?
I changed to look at stress reducing exercise, if there's such a thing. So
We all heard of them, but
yeah, I went back to yoga. I do love yoga. It's mind, body and soul. It's not for everyone. I thoroughly enjoy it. So I'm back in yoga. And I've replaced the cardio. Still do a little bit, brisk walking the dog and running around and things like that. But I replaced the cardio with some resistance and weight bearing exercises. And that has made so much difference.
so you've managed to get that weight back on track
Absolutely.
again. And you've
It
ditched
was
that
like a
hardcore.
switch flicked, and my body went, okay, we're going to get back to what we're comfortable at now. Because when you're a little bit overweight, you're not happy in yourself, and that's compounding with all the other things happening in menopause and relationships and children and jobs and elderly parents and
Just
all
piles it on.
life, right? So if you have, I figured if I was happy in myself, I could then help where I was needed elsewhere. So it definitely was a game changer for me, changing the exercise up, which I had never thought about doing previously.
And again, I remember when I met you, you were just starting to do that.
Yeah.
And then we went through some hair treatment and what have you.
Yes.
And when we caught up, I'm like, wow, what have you been doing? And you're like, yoga, Pilates,
Yeah.
just brisk walking, like things that we would never consider
Mm-hmm.
earlier on, but they actually do work, and they are so bone strengthening, which is just super and super important, when you're coming through that menopause as well.
Absolutely. I really feel it was a more of a back to basics approach. I just don't think the cardio, I couldn't sustain it. It was becoming harder and harder, and I'm lucky that I switched it up and persevered, and it was like a switch went. It all started to rebalance.
So I think this is going to be really interesting for a lot of women. So how many days a week were you having to do this type of exercise?
The yoga I just do once a week,
Okay.
and the Pilates I do once a week, just a class. I don't need any fancy gym memberships that cost a lot of money or anything. There's apps on the phone that I do as well, and I do make conscious time and effort to get out there in the sunshine and take the dog for a good brisk walk.
So that's a happy place for you.
Absolutely.
So would you say just being a little bit active and aware of it, just a little bit every day, so just general keeping it in lifestyle, that's what helps?
Yeah, absolutely. I do weight bearing training, not huge muscly weights, just resistance training. It's more around Pilates than anything
Yes.
else.
And I think, your skin starts to change at this time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to try and keep that muscle tension and skin tone as much as you can. And I do find
absolutely.
that the weight stuff helps there
Yeah.
as well. So I know that you've always been an otherwise healthy eater. Did you have to change much about what you were eating during this journey?
I think I was more conscious of portion sizes than anything else. And it wasn't a case of, oh, I can't eat that now and I shouldn't be eating that now. It was a case of really consciously going back to moderation and making sure that I was getting those greens in and getting that good iron into me in every meal.
So literally listening to your body,
Yeah.
stop eating when you're full, eat when you're hungry,
Back to basics.
kind of thing. Yeah, and I think sometimes we forget that because we're really, you know, you've got to eat 3 meals a day, this, that, and the other. And
Mm.
I'm very much a believer of eat when you're hungry.
Yeah.
If you're full, stop. You don't have to finish your plate.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that
and
type
that
of
has been hard for me growing up. I was told finish what's on your plate or else. So there has been a mindset shift there, distinctively. But yeah, I think you're right. Eating when you're hungry, as opposed to when time tells you, not always easy to do when you're working and you've got kids and family. I understand, but I think moving towards that, I think is a good goal.
I think a big thing for me going through it is definitely listening to my body.
Mm.
Eat only when I'm hungry, and stop when I'm full. And that has really changed a lot because your metabolism changes, and it's your thyroid, all that system is changing. So we just can't continue to do what we used to do, and
Yeah.
it's just listening to the body.
Exactly, and you cannot underestimate the power of drinking water.
Such a simple thing, isn't it?
You know, put some wine in front of me, I can drink that water. Oh goodness, got to drink my water today. But you know, it becomes a habit, and it's a beautiful thing, and we need to do it.
Absolutely, we're not drinking enough water, and we're actually not drinking clean water, which is a whole nother topic as well. So probably stop there, and then I want to talk a little bit more about food.